Okay, everybody, welcome back to episode number 44 here in the Systematic Factory. I'm still working on filling out our fields. It's a slow and time-consuming process, but we're getting there. We're slowly moving our way across, getting everything filled up and ready to go. I also increased our SPOMs, so now we have 3 kilograms of oxygen per second being produced. I just used the full Rodriguez design that is very, very popular. I can put a link to that in the description as well. I use the layout on Guides Not Included that is really helpful to lay it out because it works great. It's one of those things you can set it, forget it. I'm sweeping up in here and then I'm going to close it. And we'll probably never go back in there again unless I did something wrong, which I probably did. Everything's working great. We're producing everything we need. And today is Rocket Day. I am going to be doing a lot of stuff with rockets. First thing we need to do is get our mining rocket moving because I am completely out of steel. And that's because we ran out of refined carbon and coal. I had a ton of coal from the beginning of the map running the hatches, and I thought I would never run out, but I did. There is a carbon asteroid field out here that I scouted. It is 79% coal and 21% refined carbon, so it's perfect for what we need. The next thing we need to get it going is that my pilot that I have for this is on the other asteroid. And we could have him have a new pilot set up, but I think we're just going to bring him back. So, oh, I didn't look which one it was. That was Fry. So we're going to come over here. We're going to go back to our teleporter transmitter, and we're going to locate Fry, and we're going to assign it. Oh, I never inspected this. Another data bank that I don't need. That's excellent. And then we're going to have Fry transport over to the other colony. Fry is ready to go, so all we have to do is teleport him. Little known fact, if you read in the description, the teleporter deletes the copy and creates a new clone. Poor Fry. Fry is going to run down here and immediately get to work. I like it, Fry. I like the ambition. So what we want to do is this rocket is already set to go. We're going to set it to crew so that he heads up there. I'm going to change the destination for this rocket to the asteroid field. And I am going to set it as not a round trip because I am going to try to set it up so that I can land this one on Hazardato because that's where I want to build the new rocket program. So we're going to land it there and get it retrofitted. I'm going to have to make a bigger rocket bay to land it when we do some work because it's too tall for our current rocket bays, but that's fine. Gantry's open, destination set, everything is good. Launch the rocket. Still love watching the rockets go off every time. I'm a big old nerd. I just enjoy it. Uh-oh, I melted something. It's a liquid pipe. It'll be fine. This is all going to get retrofitted anyway. It may actually even get removed, because I don't think I'm going to need rockets coming back here. I'm going to use Hazardato as the rocket bed. We'll see. So we're on the star map. We have this rocket heading its way here. It's going to get here. It'll mine us a bunch of coal, a bunch of refined carbon, and then we'll bring it back. That means we need to go to Hazardato and get ready to receive it. The other thing I want to do is bring another one of our rockets over. This rocket I've already shortened down so that it can land within our current rocket bay. We just need a pilot, and the pilot for this one is Jerry. Now, Jerry's not going to be able to teleport over for a few minutes because this is still recharging. So we're going to wait for that to be ready, and then we will send him over. It is time for Jerry to go get his rocket. So all we do is select Jerry. He'll come running down here because he's got pretty much nothing else to do here. We have very little work for colonists over here now that everything has been built. It's mostly just tedious work for me, planting all these things, but that's okay. And once again, we're going to teleport him, which is going to delete him, and re-clone him on the other side. Poor little duplicates. Okay, so we're going to immediately set this to crew. And we're going to change the destination for this one to be Azerdato. Any rocket platform, is that what we want? Actually, I don't have a rocket platform right now. I was moving them, and I need to build one. So, is that the right height? Did I get it exactly right? Oh, look at that. Alright, so once this is built, then we will be able to send it, but let's send him a while. And everything is good. The pilot's not boarded yet. Come on, Jerry. I know you just got here. You were just printed, but we need your piloting expertise here. And there we go. So we are off. We're headed to Azerdato, where a rocket platform is being constructed as we speak. And Jerry will land very clear. 30 tiles of clearance. So 20 is what I need for Rad Rockets. This rocket that we're sending is actually, I think 24 is what I got it down to. So it'll stick up a little bit above it, but that's fine. We can dismantle it a little bit once we get here. That's the whole point. The next thing we're going to work on is working on getting this set up to do the Rad engine. And so I do have a design I was looking at that recaptures the fallout to help with making the rocket sustainable, which is something I want to play around with. But in order to power it first, I was going to use the radiation from here. And my original thought was I was going to just pump up some more liquid nuclear waste and do a similar thing to what I did here. Because if we look here, these now produce 136,000 rads per cycle when we activate them. But A, I don't want to have to pump liquid nuclear waste all the way up to our rocket bay. And B, it took a long time to get to the point where we were producing that much. So what I can do is use this one, and in order to do that, I'm going to make a rad bolt tunnel that goes all the way up here and reflects it directly into the rocket. So the first step we need to do with that is we need to get some changes for our power lines in here. So eventually we're going to be removing all these blocks and just have one power line that goes the whole way through. So I'm going to put, that should be fine. I'm going to put one here, one here, one here, one here, one there. This one we already have one there, and that's the only one we need, so that's fine. We can actually close this one in. And then we're going to work on closing up all these. We'll have to remove those power lines and fill them in. And then once we're done and we have this all sealed, that one I'm going to have to do a little bit of configuring. Then we're going to put a ladder that goes the whole way down, make the power line go the whole way down, and we will have a space where we can fire a rad bolt straight up. It's not going to hit anything, and we'll use that to power our rocket. I had the height right for a rocket platform, but I didn't have the clearance right. It was too far over, so I just moved it over to this side. And since this rocket was queuing to land as soon as we built it, it landed. So now we have our first rocket on Azerdato. And we're going to be doing some work on it. First of all, our pilot can't get out. Let's do one lower. I'm not worried about Jerry's rocket suit because I never took it off. He's holding his breath because his rocket suit's out of gas, but that's fine. As soon as he gets back out, he'll be able to go back and refill it. No problem at all. So I just need this to get delivered so that he can get out. Because right now he can't reach. And then we're going to do some work on this. As far as our rad bolt tunnel goes, I have most of it finished. Just finished in this section here. I need to put in another tile there. We're getting good. I removed this auto sweeper and dispenser combo because I realized it's not necessary. Nothing falls down there because it's a bunker tile there. This one covers right there. So, other thing I'm going to do is shorten this just a little bit because I don't need it to go all that way now. And then we can remove that stuff. So we're going to be doing a lot of stuff like this where we're just kind of modifying what we already have so that we can get down in here. I need to have a power line there. Let's just start from the top here and we'll work our way out. We'll lose a little bit of gas in the process, but that's okay. I put one tile there and I can get rid of this. The problem is I can't put a heavy watt joint plate this way because the end of this one is there. So I'm going to remove this one and then I'll quick put one in its place. And that'll block off the things. And then we'll reconnect it like this. These guys are all going to get stuck in. I need ladders. No, they'll be able to go this way because they can get out that side, but they can't come in this side. No problem at all. Okay, so that's in. We need this insulated tile done quickly because it's allowing oxygen to leave. It doesn't leave that fast, though it's not that big. Okay, so for the rest of this, basically all we're going to do is we're going to run the ladder down. And we're going to, when we get to a joint plate, we're going to deconstruct it, and we're just going to replace it with a wire. And I need one right here so that we can have the wire go through to power all this stuff. But I think that this connects on the other side as well, so it's not losing any power. In fact, let's get rid of that. We'll get rid of these lines. And we'll just put a wall here. The reason I want a wall is I don't want them to be able to get in here because of the same problem. They'll pick stuff up, put it in, pick it up, put it in, pick it up, put it in. Don't want it. Don't want that at all. So we're just putting a wall here. This is going to be their access to get into this tunnel, and that's it. So then now that they have the ladder, we can just deconstruct this. We can put down a new power line, and in fact, I'm going to replace this whole line with lead. And, while I still have lead, because I built it out of steel, and it's not necessary. But this one is the highest priority. The only one we're losing power on right now, though, is this line here, and that's because this joint plate hasn't been built. So actually what we need is priority here. What's nice is if we just do this one at a time for all of these joint plates that we're replacing, we have power coming in from the top from solar and power coming in the bottom from nuclear. So the only time we're losing power is when we disconnect from the line. When we put a break in the line temporarily, it's got a redundancy system. And so that will be fine. Come on, seal up this little door. And there we go. So now the power is restored. Oh, we need this one right here done. Just to get that on. It's not like this is important to have on, but we now are blocking the gas, so it's not going to be escaping. What gas is in here will escape. The other thing that's nice about that is now we have, we don't have any transmission of temperatures. So we used to have it so that these joint plates were getting gas from this one and the one below it. So like down here, I had put in a vacuum spot where I was planning to. I hadn't gotten to it yet. But that meant no temperature could transfer. Even though it's slow with the insulation tiles, it is some there. Now I don't have to worry about it. This entire tunnel is going to be vacuum, which is great. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to remove all these, and we will get the rad bolt tunnel set up, and then we'll start working on converting the rocket. Our rad bolt tunnel is complete. So I didn't do anything fancy with it yet, but basically this is already shooting this direction, so I just put a hole in this wall, which is fine because it's hydrogen on both sides. And it hits this rad bolt joint plate, which shoots it into this reflector, which shoots it all the way up this tunnel, which is now free and clear up to here. Next thing we need to do is swap our petroleum engine for a rad bolt engine. It's not going to work because it's going to push us past our limit, but that's because we still have our oxidizer tank and our fuel tank from our petroleum engine. So we're going to remove those, and then we're going to swap out the engine, and we'll get started on designing how we're going to utilize this rocket. Still have somebody coming along to deconstruct the fuel tank, but we are now short enough that we can swap out the rad bolt engine. And that allows us to see where the port is on it. So basically what we need to do is come across from here. We're going to remove a ladder section because we need to be able to fire our reflector right at that spot. So we're going to put a reflector in here. Our engine is built now. So we have our rocket to its right size. So we have 20 blocks tall, fits right into where I have it designed. Now there are advantages and disadvantages to the rad bolt engine. One is that obviously it's powered by radiation, so we don't have to put in fuel, we don't have to put in an oxidizer to make the fuel burn, that kind of thing. The other downside, or the big one, is its height. It's only 20 blocks tall instead of 35. Now, a lot of that is negated from the fact that we don't have to have the fuel tank and the oxidizer tanks. So, that is pretty much a wash. I mean, you do lose a little bit of space because the 2 large fuel tanks plus an oxidizer tank is 14 blocks, and we lose 11 blocks when we drop down. Oh no, we use 15 blocks. So we miss an extra 1 tile there. The other downside is the rad bolt engine does not generate power inside the rocket. So if we want power inside, based on our Spacefarer module, how we have it set up, we're going to need to set up solar panels to get that to work. So we have some room to make some changes here to get this working. We're going to have to make some changes inside. But first, I want to just do a test here. So what I did is I put in a switch here so that I can manually fire off these rad bolt engines, or rad bolt generators, I should say. And if we, like I said, if we look here, we're producing 139,000 per cycle. So if you watch them fire up, it is very quick. I'm going to move this to low speed just so I can watch what happens with it. So our rad bolt is flying across. Going to hit this the joint plate, which is going to reflect it up. Now we are losing rad bolts as this moves, and it's quite a bit of distance. So we fired off 500 rad bolts when it went out. It's going to come up here, it's going to hit our reflector, and it's going to go in. Now we got 482.8 rad bolts. So we lost almost 20 rad bolts from that rad bolt that time. We already have a second one firing because there's 2 of them in there. And so that's going to be another 480. And these are continuing to charge up because we just have a ton of radiation collected in one spot here. This is going to be the last rad bolt we can handle. That is perfect. So now we have 4,000 rad bolts. Like I said, we have some that were too much and it's going forward. That's our fuel for our rocket, which is super easy, super simple, and why I wanted to switch to rad bolts. I have reached a point here in our rocket. I'm dismantling everything. I'm actually probably just going to get rid of this capsule, but I wanted to get as much of the stuff out of it as I could. I'm going to break open this water capsule just because I want to see what happens. I have so much water, I don't care if I lose 50 tons of water. I just want to see what happens. So I'm going to break open this tile right here and see if it fills the whole thing up. Definitely not a disappointment. Looks like we're getting our first signs of pressure damage. The windows have water squirting out the sides. So do the ports up at the top. I don't think it's going to do anything other than slowly leak out water. But it's interesting. I still have all this stuff in here that is... none of it's super valuable. I might just deconstruct just to see what happens now. My other thing I want to see is what happens when there are items inside of a spacefarer module when you deconstruct it. Do they fall? And if they do, that might mean that all this water is going to land on our base, which could be pretty problematic. There's no way to know without testing. Well, that's definitely not what I thought would happen, but it's good to know. I have a 24-ton bottle of water sitting there. Useful, I guess. Good way to move water to another planet. Just pump it into your rocket and then deconstruct it. Then you have water bottled for days. Especially with the new quality of life update that's on the horizon. Because then you can just put it straight into pipes. Which means that, pretty sure that means the auto sweeper could feed it into a bottle emptier that feeds it into a pipe. Haven't tested that yet. But we'll see. Our system here is doing its work, moving everything away. And now we have a rocket with no spacefarer module. So let's add a spacefarer module. Made out of steel. And we can start designing a whole new interior. Okay, everybody, we have gotten our rocket done. And in the time that we were designing and building the interior, I got most of our crops planted. We are finished with the dust caps. We're up to here with the bristle blossoms. And the sleetweed, I have enough to plant them, but I can't really go any farther yet because the ones above haven't been planted. So right now we're just waiting for the bristle blossoms to finish growing so we can harvest them. They are set to manual harvest because I want to get the extra seeds back. Do the same with the sleetweeds. And they will be, when we get the seeds, they'll be brought over here and the pips will have spaces to plant the next couple. And we'll just keep checking in on it. I actually have this door closed, so I guess the manual harvest in here doesn't matter. Because I don't want them to come and grab the sleet wheat off of these because I need it to plant the other ones. So they'll sit here just fine in the deep freeze waiting. I have them processing the sleet wheat that I already brought out to make berry sludge. And once we're finished with the planting of the bristle blossoms, then we'll open this up because we need it to be open for them to come in and remove ladders. But at that time, I'll disable the production of berry sludge, finish it up, and then we'll get everything back on. But everything's working great, exactly how it's supposed to. These doors are now disallowed access, so these plants are just dropping manually. They're also set to disable harvest. But I've just removed it so that there's no extra pathing going on in there. There's nothing for dupes to do in here except get the food when it comes out, and that's all done automatically. Inside our rocket, we have, well, let's start with the outside. We have 2 solar panels. We have a large gas cargo canister that I have filled up with oxygen. So that's my oxygen supply for while we're in space. Inside the rocket, I have, we'll start with some gas. One thing I do is, I've had situations where I'm out in space or I'm on another planet and I want to reroute some pipes. But, I bring resources with in case I need to build stuff, but it is sometimes difficult to reach spots because of where the things are placed. Like, for example, if I needed to run pipes up here, I'd have to remove the telescope, put in a ladder so that they could reach. So what I do is I just put a single gas pipe in every possible spot and leave them disconnected. And then that way, since we have the disconnect tool as part of the base game now, if you want to reroute the pipe, you just grab some piping, you reconnect through where you want it to go, disconnect where you don't want it to go, and it's like a little grid puzzle where you can rerun everything however you want. Actually, I think I'm gonna do... Let me think here. Nah, I think that'll be all right. I was thinking maybe I could get a little extra... Yeah, I can get a little bit extra space for oxygen if I go like this. Because then the oxygen will backpile. So basically the way the oxygen works is I have oxygen coming out of that cargo canister, which is connected to this pipe. So this pipe comes from our colony because we are docked. It's running oxygen through. It's going into here, going into the gas tank, and then this is set to pull out breathable gas. It pulls it all out and runs down this pipe. And it comes to Atmos suits to keep that filled up so that when we go to land... Oh, I need to turn this off of being grounded so Jerry can use his bed and eat and all those things. Use the bathroom. The oxygen will just keep coming out here and it will automatically not overpressurize because this is a regular gas vent and it'll do 2K of pressure. This pump is here so that when Jerry is out of his suit and he is exhaling carbon dioxide, it gets pumped up into the pump. It only does it when the gases get to the point where they trip this sensor here, and then it turns on the gas pump. The gas pump sends gas up around here. When it goes past here, if it's oxygen, this vent lets it out, and otherwise the carbon dioxide goes and puts out. This is a high pressure gas vent just to make sure the pipe keeps going even if we're at 2K pressure. But the there's no risk of it overpressurizing because the only gas it's putting through this pipe is gas that it has picked up here. So this runs slow enough that there's no way that we can let out enough gas to overpressurize the room. In worst case scenario, if we overpressurize it, Jerry loses a little bit of morale for his pop eardrums and we'll be okay. As far as the room overlays, we get a washroom, we squeezed in a mess hall, and a private bedroom, so we get a total of 8 morale just from the rooms in the module. I think that that's the best you can do. I don't think you could get anything better because there's literally not enough space to do a great hall and a private bedroom, not that I'm aware of, and still have space to do a bathroom. These tiles are all the new storage tiles that came out last year, and so we have places to just stash stuff all over the rocket. I think those are a really nice touch, especially for the rockets, because that's how I would imagine a real rocket would be. They have little compartments all over the place to store all the goods and no wasted space. I have a telescope in here because the first thing we're going to do is go and do some exploration of our map. And so Jerry, while we're thinking of it, needs to have... He does have. Okay. He has that. We need to have astronomy for it. So why does it say local colony lacks astronomy? So maybe because we're not in space. Maybe that'll fix itself. We'll figure it out when we get up there. As far as water for our bathroom, we have pipe here that has water in it. Each one of these holds 10 kilograms, and there's, I think it's 144 or something. I can't remember the math. Maybe it was 114. Now I remember. Because that's, if we use the toilet, every time we do it, it's 2.5 kilograms of water. And that means that we got 450 cycles from just having these pipes in. So there's no point in putting a reservoir to hold water, no point in putting infinite storage for water. If we're not going to be in space for more than 450 cycles, this pipe will hold enough liquid for the bathroom to run if that's all we're using it for. So that gets us covered with everything. We have berry sludge. We stockpile right now. We have 73,000 grams of it. So 73 days basically of berry sludge for Jerry to eat and be happy. Oh, he's not eating yet because he's not due to eat yet. But he's good. It is a little hot in here. We may have to do some work to fix that in the future so that we don't have the debuff. But honestly, the debuff from that for toasty surroundings just lowers his athletics and stamina. His stress goes up a little bit, but he's not under much other stress, so it's fine. So it'll be all right, but we can cool this off later if we need to. I think it's mostly that way because of the gases we pumped in and things like that. We just have to deal with it. Anyway, I think we're ready to take off. I have the capsule ready to fly out. We're just flying to a few tiles away, and he's going to sit there, and we're going to try to map out the area around it. So let's go back to Hazardato, and yep, our gantries are open. Let's launch this rocket. In the future, we get a bunch of fallout that comes from the rocket, and I have a system that I want to try to do that will recapture that fallout and use it to recharge the rocket when it lands again. We'll probably work on that in the next episode, because we don't really have the time to do it right now. We are already pushing way beyond the end of this episode, and so that's good. So I'm going to let him come out here, and then we will see how his mapping of the space goes, and we will decide what else we're going to be able to do. I figured out our problem with the telescope inside of our rocket. It wasn't that Jerry didn't have the skill, it's that Jerry's priorities were set that he wasn't allowed to do research. So now he is, so even while we're flying around, he can map out the surrounding area. So if we look at the star map, he is mapping out here already. So while, even in transit, he's going to do that. I'm going to park him here. I think that that's close enough that we should be able to map all the way to the edge here. And then we can just move him strategically to get all the tiles mapped out. And we won't have to actually fly to the edge of the solar system in order to map out all the tiles. We just move him far enough away that we can map out all these tiles that are so question marks. And Jerry has enough food inside his rocket to last for 73 cycles. He has enough oxygen to last, I think we have 11 tons of oxygen plus what's in here, and he uses 1,000 kilograms a day. Is that right? Or no, he uses 100 kilograms a day. 1,000 is enough for 10 duplicates. So if he uses 100 a day, that's 1 ton every 10 days. So that's 110 plus what's oxygen is in here. So he can be up here for well over 100 cycles. So he'll run out of food before he runs out of oxygen. He can go to the bathroom for 400 cycles. So we're all good there. And so Jerry can be up here a nice long time to map everything out. He has enough rocket capacity to travel a total of 20 tiles. So if we go here and get this section, fly over here, get this section, then we'll probably return to get some more radiation fueled up, and then we'll head out and get the other sides here. Theoretically, in a couple of trips, we can get the entire quadrant of space mapped out completely. And then we'll be much better suited to make our plan for space. In the next episode, I'm going to be working on setting up the rocket recharging station that I saw. I'm not sure how it works, so we're just going to have to try it, test it out. That's why I want to do it, because I've never used it before. I'd like to learn it so that we can use it in later playthroughs. And we're also going to be setting up some more rockets. So I want to get into doing automation of the rockets so that we can design rockets that do mining, where they will automatically fly and collect resources and bring them back for us without us being involved at all. So that's going to be a fun thing to figure out. Along with that, we're also going to be going to all the colonies and making bases so that we can finish all of our achievements that we have left, and we'll be well on our way to getting everything finished out. But I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.